Hello. So, I I watched the film Wonka with my friend. Basically we just watched it at the same time because, they live farther away, so we kind of just watched it separately, but we watched it at the same time. I pirated it, so hopefully that BI doesn't come from me, but yeah, basically, I just wanted to make a video about how influential the movie was. Wonka, the movie, is basically the prequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original. That was made in around the 1970s, I think, yeah. But, I think I saw that it was made in the 1970s, and, I couldn't believe that was that old, but, I thought it was made, later on, but, I thought it would be, 1990s or something like that. But if I remember correctly, it was made in 1970, and I was like, whoa, it's kind of old, honestly, but... Yeah, so basically this Wonka film was made as a prequel in 2023. I'm a bit late to the party, but... my friend suggested the film because they were like, oh, you would like it. And she was right. I very much did like it. And honestly, it kind of changed my life. And I want to tell you why. So, firstly, I'll give you a bit of a summary. This is gonna have some spoilers, so, if you don't want spoilers for this movie, then don't watch the video. But, yeah, let's just get into it. So, a summary of the film. I don't really have a script for this, much of a script, so, let's see how I do with this. But, basically, there is this one guy named Wonka. I'm going to call him Wonka, it's Willy Wonka. And he basically is this guy who wants to make a chocolate factory because he's a chocolate maker and he wants to be able to live out his dream of opening a chocolate shop and having other people love what he eats, because actually his mother made chocolate. She gave him these cocoa beans, and basically he used them to make his own chocolate. And it's kind of a sentimental thing. His mom actually died, and, the chocolate was kind of a remembrance of her. He wanted to live out her dream, and it's what made him happy, and that stuff. But basically, at the beginning of the film, he was homeless, pretty much, and he didn't have anywhere to stay, and his dreams were just starting off, and he didn't have any way of living out his dream. So, he ended up being brought in by this lady who ran this hotel or something like that. And she and this one guy who ends up being her boyfriend at some point or something like that, or love interest or whatever, they end up taking them in, and she kind of ends up being the villain of the story, essentially, because she's just this person who wants everyone trapped in the house and who pays fines for all these silly things without the other people knowing. And, she wants to keep them trapped in her house because I guess she's kind of miserable and lonely and kind of just wants people there. But, yeah, and then they meet this one person named Noodle who... Wonka meets this one person named Noodle who has been there for a while. And keep in mind, she's African American, which will be important in this next section that I'm going to share, like this one theory that I have about the lady who runs the hotel. So basically, there's this one girl named Noodle. She's like a kid or something, and she is an orphan, and she has never been able to meet her mother, and she really likes Wonka's chocolate, and she basically Wonka makes her a promise that she will, how's it going? Basically, Wonka makes her promise that she will be able to meet her mother, and that he'll give her a lifetime supply of chocolate, and then basically like they meet like other people from the hotel along the way, and then like they end up being a team, and then things end up happy, and then okay, let's move on, because I feel like a lot of people watching this video either don't really care about spoilers or they've already watched the movie. But yeah, I just wanted to give a bit of a rundown just in case you haven't seen it or just watching this video. But yeah, basically the theory that I have about the lady who runs the hotel, I forgot her name, but I think it was like Mrs. L or something. Let's just call her Mrs. L. So, a theory that I have about Mrs. L, she was basically the one who gave the name Noodle, and basically the girl had this thing, this necklace that they thought was an N or something, and they read it as an N, so the lady ended up calling her Noodle, and I kind of have a reason as to why maybe she did. I'm kind of thinking that that lady was racist, possibly. Now, let me explain. I just have this feeling that the name Noodle kind of came as a derogatory term for, possibly a derogatory term for the hair or something like that. Like, I just have that sort of theory. And then to add on, like, towards the end of the film, everyone got money to basically go out of the hotel. And they literally, like, gave all of these people, like, they gave, like, everyone the money that stayed in the hotel. And basically, like, I'm pretty sure, like, almost all of them were, like, white people, that she gave the money to and just, like, get off and stuff like that. But when it came to, like, Noodle, they were like, we want you to stay here forever because you're an orphan little child and stuff like that. And I don't know, I just have this, like, inclination that, like, possibly, like, the lady hated her in some ways because she was racist and stuff like that. Like, I just kind of had that sort of theory. I might be wrong, but that's how I interpreted the whole thing. Or that's kind of what popped into my mind. But yeah, I'm now going to talk about the more, like, not necessarily lighthearted stuff, but the stuff that I learned from the film. So, basically, they had this song in the film, and it's played in every Willy Wonka, like, film. Like, you'll hear it in the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but it's, like, the instrumental version. This one has lyrics, and the guy Wonka would sing it, and at certain points, and, it's called Pure Imagination, and one of the lyrics to this song is, if you want to view paradise, just look at them and view it. And I feel like that's a very powerful quote, because it kind of just shows that the paradise that we're looking for is really at the present moment. And it's with the people that are around us right now. it's not outside of what is right now. It's kind of like that one quote from BoJack Horseman. It was like an audio for TikTok, and it basically, BoJack was asking, sorry, he wasn't asking. He said, sorry, I'm trying to remember, what I was trying to say. He basically said, see you on the other side, and then this other person said, BoJack, there is no other side. This is it. And I feel like it really encompasses a lesson in life that we, it's not like we necessarily need a certain thing or need to search for anything in order to have happiness. That's if we're able to feel happy with the reality that we have now, or feel as happy as we can be, and if we're able to see the beauty in the now and how we can shape the now into something that we feel like happy with, like we can take advantage of what we have now, then I feel like it goes for a really fulfilling life. Like, we always try to search for, like, like closer friends or like partners, especially like romantic partners. I feel like a lot of people, and I've fallen into this trap too, where I feel like people kind of, and me included, kind of like, put so much of weight on finding someone romantically. So therefore, we kind of devalue in a way, or like kind of put less value in the people that we have in our lives now, like our friends or our family and stuff like that. And I feel like this film really shows that, hey, like the people that you do have in your life right now should be cherished. The people that do appreciate you should be cherished, because that's ultimately what will lead to happiness, is being able to cherish things with the people who really want to see you succeed. So yeah, I just thought that was a very powerful idea. The idea that the people that we have in our lives right now, the life that we have right now, that is our paradise. And I don't know, it was like there was, at the end, basically, Wonka, he opened up the bar of chocolate that he made with his mom's cocoa beans. And basically, there was this golden ticket that serves as the note from his mom, the final message. And it said, it's not the chocolate that matters, it's the people who you share it with. And I feel like that's so powerful too, because it kind of shows that life isn't just about us. And there was actually this one part in the end where I literally ended up crying. It was basically when Noodle was able to meet her mom, because Wonka was able to make that dream come true. And the song Pure Imagination was playing, and I literally, like I had, tears came out, because I was just like, wow, that's literally so beautiful. And it kind of shows that the beauty of life is really being able to not only make your own dreams come true, but to make others' dreams come true. Because I feel like, in a way, making others' dreams come true is more fulfilling in a way, just because you're, able to help other people out, which is really, in my opinion, what life is all about, is being able to help other people out and reach their own ends, to help them reach their own ends. It's kind of like a philosophical phrase that I heard from my philosophy class when I was in college, but yeah, that's basically like what I mean. It's just, it makes me motivated to do so much. Like, for example, I kind of have this desire to possibly one day adopt kids, because sure, like, it's nice having your own kids, and that's a powerful thing and great thing to do. But at the same time, I feel like when it comes to like adopting, like, you could really help someone out who truly needs that home, who truly needs to be taken care of because their parents kind of neglected them, or their parents aren't able to be with them anymore. And I feel like it's a very powerful thing, and I hope that I'm able to do that one day. I hope that I'm able to get through my, like, mental, like, issues that kind of prevent me from, adopting kids or having kids or something, and I'm able to push through that, and I'm able to possibly adopt, because I feel like it just seems like such a powerful thing, and the film kind of reminded me of that. Yeah. That was just beautiful, and also, like, he made other people's dreams come true too. Like, the people who were at the hotel who were working to pay off these fines, he made their dreams come true. This one girl who ended up turning quiet because of being in this hotel and being trapped, and she used to be someone who, like, called phones and stuff, but then got trapped into this hotel and wasn't able to do that anymore, so therefore she turned quiet and, like, didn't really let her true personality shine. But then at the end of the movie, she was able to go back to working the job of answering phone calls, and she was able to find her voice again. And I feel like helping other people find their voice is something that we can all do, you know? Like, it's pretty easy to respect what other people are saying and to really listen to them, no matter who they are, because here's the thing, is that we can learn stuff from literally anyone. Even if you think, oh, well, this person, like, some people say, like, oh, but, like, I'm smarter than this person or something, but that's not necessarily true. Like, you can learn things from anyone. Like, even if you think that's, oh, like, but I know more than them. Nah, not really. I mean, we all know stuff about different subjects, and also, like, even then, like, even if you do know the same type of information as someone else, they have a different perspective on it, most likely, and they can really help you see a different perspective of it, and can really help you become more open-minded and change your own viewpoints. But hey, just do with that what you will. Yeah, I just found the whole empowerment of helping other people in this film very beautiful. And then also, when it came to the ending too, there's basically this Oompa Loompa guy who, the cocoa beans that Wonka's mom gave him, they actually ended up being from the Oompa Loompa. And the Oompa Loompa stole Wonka's chocolate, and, at the beginning of the film, we didn't really know why, but then we realized, like, oh, like, the cocoa beans came from the Oompa Loompa, and basically they got stolen, so taken from them to make this chocolate, and the Oompa Loompa was angry about it and wanted to steal back the chocolate so that Wonka can repay for this, and and then it kind of turned into this whole rivalry kind of thing. And towards the end of the film, basically, like, they ended up making up because, Wonka gave the Oompa Loompa the last jar of chocolate that was able to pay off the fine that he owed for, like, taking the cocoa beans, and pretty much, sorry, sometimes I, like, blank out again, so it just, like, my brain goes blank, so that's why I'm pausing. Yeah, I guess I don't have to really explain, but yeah, I just wanted to explain that. Fuck. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm blinking out so bad. Okay, let's just say, like, the Oompa Loompa gave the... Okay, sorry, I don't know how to words, fuck, I don't know. Fuck. I'm sorry, I'm swearing a lot. I'm having a brain fart moment. I have to get back on track. But yeah. Oh yeah, so towards the end, basically, like, they end up working together. Because basically, like, they end up making up. And, Wonka asked the Oompa Loompa at the end, like, because the Oompa Loompa was like, oh, I'll just be on my merry way. And then Wonka was like, oh, well, I need you to join me, to help me. And it's just like, they ended up working together. And it just warms my heart because despite the differences, Wonka was able to make that Oompa Loompa's dreams come true. It's like I'm almost gonna cry, and it's kind of funny because of the Oompa Loompa. I'm sorry, but yeah, I love me some Oompa Loompas. I am very short, so I could literally be one. Like, if I painted my face orange and I dyed my hair green. So maybe I'll do that for Halloween, but yeah. I remember I have this, like, I literally, like, have me on my Switch of avatar of me as an Oompa Loompa, and I call it Crick Oompa because my gaming basically my gaming nickname is Cricks for tricks. But yeah, anyway, yeah. But yeah, it just, like, it's very heartwarming because it just kind of shows that even if we have differences, or even if we're enemies with someone at the beginning, it doesn't have to turn out that way. We could rewrite this story and really make it where we're able to make them happy and we're able to make their dreams come true as well. Because I feel like sometimes the reason why people act up or something is because their dream, or the reason why they're miserable and unhappy and kind of projected onto others is because they have an unmet need themselves. And I feel like, in a way, if we're able to get to the source of that and be able to help them, then maybe we could actually make a really good friend. And I feel like that's kind of the beauty that it showed, that although someone can be an enemy at first, they really turn into a friend, and it's, beautiful to see, especially in literally all of these themes that this movie had. It just is really beautiful, especially for a film that's supposed to be targeted towards kids mainly. And I feel like, it was just beautifully made. And I feel like, because also, like, another target audience for it was, like, the people who originally watched, like, the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, like, people who are older, so it kind of catered towards them, too, because there were, like, these deep themes that can really change your life, and I, like, read through the comments of these YouTube videos, basically, like, the song Pure Imagination, because I started listening to it over and over again after I watched the film. And I read the comments, and these people said, like, oh, like, it made me cry even though I was a grown man. And it just shows the power of the movie and the power of the messages that were in there. I always think of this song, I make the grown man cry, I make the grown man cry. It's like Start Me Up by some band or whatever. That's the song, but yeah. But yeah. Overall, Wonka is just a really influential film that really changed my life, changed my perspective on life. It makes me feel more motivated to change the world. Even more motivated than I already was. I hope that doesn't sound egotistical or anything, but I really do want to change the world. Anyway. Yeah. It's very beautiful, and I encourage you to watch it if you haven't already, because it's just so beautiful. And tell me your experience too if you have watched the film, because I would love to know your experience, like your own interpretations of things. So yeah, that's basically all for this video, but thank you for watching, and I loved getting to share this with you all, and I love you. Mwah.